You are listening to INTERFORM Podcast with Ro on the radio. You're going to want to hear this.
Did you say yes? I didn't hear you.
Nope. Let me hide my phone.
The door is still
hide
open.
it.
Do you lock your phone or is
Obviously, I'm going to hide it.
under a bushel? What is that?
I don't have any bushels.
No.
Fresh out.
That's what it is. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
James,
Hide it under
are
a
we
bushel.
ready?
No.
I'm gonna come.
No.
James, I'm about to come and flip
Yeah.
your chair over. Welcome to INTERFORM Podcast. I'm Ro on the radio with two extremely special guests. I have my boss, so y'all make sure you behave. CEO of INTERFORM, Robin Atkinson, and our amazing creative and communications director, Zack Ridenoure. Thank y'all
Hello.
for taking time. I know we are crazy busy. Fashion Week. Listen, I'm trying to get in there.
Yeah.
I want to know what can people expect. Don't tell them everything. But what can people expect? Well, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the actual theme because it is super dope. Model citizen. I want to know how this came about.
So this lady over here came to me one day and she said, democracy. It's a big deal.
Have you heard?
That sounds like something she would say.
There is an election 4 days before the Fashion Week shows.
Mm-hmm.
How can we tie in the Fashion Week campaign with voting? And I thought about it. And I was like, model citizen.
So that was like your first idea?
Yeah,
so good.
That's what it was because, like ideally a model citizen is someone who is a patriot, who is for their country, who is, exercising their right to vote, who is democratic, civically engaged. But then on the fashion side, you have also a model. It's just a play on words where a citizen can also be a model as well. And a lot of our models are just citizens of this country and of this state and this region. And it's something that we always are very strong at highlighting. And so putting it all together, it just seemed like a no-brainer in my opinion.
Well, and I mean, for me, I think he's being very generous because I'm pretty sure what I said was, make it democracy and fashion. And then I just walked away. But he nailed it. And the thing for me that I love about it so much and why I'm so excited that we're leaning into it is that, I think for the last several years, we've really felt like in the U.S. that the conservative right has kind of taken the imagery of patriotism so that there's a kind of like whenever you see an American flag, you have a connotation in your mind. And, that there's the sort of like MAGA Americans have like really claimed patriotism when in fact, like also they're insurrectionists. So I think that I'm really excited about us sort of like reclaiming the American flag and the colors red, white, and blue and taking and having a non-ironic engagement with our own patriotism. And especially because INTERFORM is such a diverse organization and because we're always so focused on making really inclusive images. I just love this idea of like troubling the American flag and sort of reclaiming that language and making it hip. I mean, we're trying.
It's working.
I think it feels good.
Sure.
I was walking in my neighborhood yesterday. I was just doing a little loop with my daughter, and I saw all of these American flags hanging at on my neighbors' houses, and I was like, I can't imagine myself hanging an American flag on my house. Like, that doesn't feel like something I would do.
Okay.
But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe I would. Yeah. Maybe this is a new phase where I'm like, I don't have to be too cool to care about being an American. Maybe it's actually really cool to care about democracy and democratic engagement.
That is really interesting that you brought that up because that's exactly what I think of. Before the Model Citizen campaign, when I see an abundance of American flags, it doesn't really feel like it's something that I can be a part of. As crazy as that sounds, I feel like I can be a part of it during Veterans Day, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. But as far as seeing an American flag and seeing it over and over again, the images that we have married with the Model Citizen campaign really turn things around, because you see people of different genders, different sizes, different ethnicities, and it really makes me feel a lot more comfortable about caring about what goes on in our country and just kind of taking it back, like you said, because you automatically think of, when you see an American flag, you think of like, you know, if you don't like it, then you can just leave.
Yeah.
That kind of so I like
you
that.
could just vote.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The weird thing is that like over the years, the like connotation that has been developed in association with the flag and patriotism is something that is not inclusive and is not diverse. It's a certain sect of people within the country. And so living in this country, even though we are Americans and even you specifically as a veteran would be considered, especially a patriot, a model citizen, if you will. Something like that. It just, you know, like, are you an actual part of this country, even if you live here, you know?
Right.
What does that mean to you? And like being able to kind of like flesh that out and then be able to take that part that is actually you and like own your like citizenship in the country.
It just makes me feel more included, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Representation is important. So when the editorial was released and the marketing and the graphics was released, like, I felt good about seeing it personally. I felt good about seeing a black woman and a black man in front of an American flag.
With
Whereas
with
the amazing glasses, the whole theme is just, but before that, I'll see an American flag and be like, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I have even during this campaign felt a little like it's a lot of flags. We're leaning all the way in on the flags, but I think that it's about, I've been thinking a lot about like cultural engagement, and, you know, we're an arts organization, we're a fashion organization, we're really supposed to be thinking about what images mean. And I think that this new generation of individuals that are of age to vote, and like the people that our organization speaks to, I mean, we've got audiences of all ages, but we have a young audience. And I think that something that I love about Gen Z is that like it's okay for them to care. Like when I was younger, it was all, I mean, just topically, you know, yesterday was the 21st anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah.
I remember when 9/11 happened when I was, you know, a senior in high school. And there was, in my 20s, there was a real pushback against like being an American didn't, you know, it was like we weren't leaning into the idea of like being so proud of being an American, and like,
exactly,
you know, it wasn't cool to care about democratic engagement. It wasn't cool to care about like, you know, how to make your community better, or how to like make people's lives better. Like we just were too ironic for that. The 90s and the aughts were like a really ironic time. And I feel like right now is a really, like there's a lot of stuff going on, you know, there's a lot of, you know, sort of a crisis of democracy happening in a way that's like really, I think, changes the connotation of the imagery, but then also sort of brings up a hopeful message of like, there's a whole new generation of people who can perhaps unironically engage with the idea of the importance of democracy
and
That's
impacting
really
change, because the people who are represented in these images are the people who a lot of these decisions in this election will affect.
100%.
That is the most important thing. I think that before, when we see the American flag, people who are so passionate about it and passionate about being a patriot is because the democracy has always gone their way. So of course they're going to be.
It's always been for
yes.
them.
Of course they're going to be happy with the way things are. Of course they're going to be gung ho about the American flag and about the United States and their country, because everything has gone right for them so far. Yeah. But with this imagery, I feel like it's like, look, this is something that affects us, and this is something we do have some control over and some power over, and we have to exercise our right to vote and impact some sort of change. And I think it's absolutely amazing. Not to mention, I just want to say this, Zach is amazing at taking
Yeah.
one person's idea and them not communicating it quite effectively and turning it into something that is like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Not necessarily talking about you, but I always tell this story.
He's
but
a psychic.
he is like a psychic because I was wanting the imagery for Black Girls Talk, and I described it as I kind of want, those three faces, and I went like this, and Zach was like, okay, and then literally probably like maybe 30 minutes later, I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. So being in the creative position, you're pretty qualified. Thank
you.
Yeah.
I want to add that I think, there's such a multi-layered connotation to this campaign and everything, and even tying it back to fashion and Fashion Week. What better icon than fabric sewn together that tells a story, like the 13 stripes, the 50 stars, that is exactly the process of thought and construction that our designers go through as well. And how better to pair that than the American flag.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. But yeah, storytelling through apparel, storytelling through sewn trades. Okay, Betsy.
Yeah, right. Come on, Miss Ross.
And marrying the two together. So what can, like I said, without giving it away, because y'all got to buy tickets, what can people expect from this Fashion Week that is maybe different from previous Fashion Weeks?
Should I start?
Yeah, go for it.
So since I took over Fashion Week in 2016, people have been saying, you have to do it at Crystal Bridges. You have to do it at Crystal Bridges. And I have been saying for years, it'll never happen. There's no way. And here we are. It's happening in Crystal Bridges. It's just such a big deal. It's such a big deal. And we are getting the entire sort of museum to play with for a day, which is huge. And so during the early part of the day from 1 to 6, there will be a bunch of free engagements where folks can come in and see presentations and panel discussions and different kinds of activations that are around our designers and residents and the Emerge program, which is wonderful. I love that we get to have something that's free and open to the public. And then in the evening, it switches over and we will have a big VIP thing that we're not going to tell you anything about yet. And then the runway show itself is going to be in 11 in the restaurant. In the most perfect space. It couldn't have worked out better in terms of the layout that we get to use and leaning into the building. And it really is the most beautiful space in Arkansas.
It seems like the most interactive. I mean, if you think about that, there are people who maybe can't make the show and they have an opportunity to engage in free programming. That's big.
And something that is really amazing too is that Crystal Bridges is actually going to allow the audience there to be able to go through the Fashion America Grit to Glamour exhibit before the show opens.
Really?
Yeah, which is super cool.
Yes. So, and we just went last week to the opening and the Emerge designer installation, Be Still My Heart. It's just such I just feels like a really momentous time for us, having rebuilt this organization over so many years. And now here we are, the show's in Crystal Bridges. The designers are on the wall in a world-class museum. I just can't imagine a better setup.
It's amazing. I'm obviously really excited about it. It's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. I would say that the difference is that, and we've highlighted our own designers before, but this is really a highlight and a platform for literally local designers. This is not like a boutique type showcase thing or a trade show. It is literally people who you would see at Walmart that are making garments and that are really talented.
Yeah, I think it's significant to tell everyone that all of the designers are from our Emerge program. The Emerge program is like 6 months long. It's weeks and weeks of seminars from industry professionals that mentor them on specific subjects each class, and then it all like compiles together in their collection that they show at Crystal Bridges. There's 16 total. There will be 6 designers in residence, and they will be the focus of the runway shows in the evening. And then the 10 cohort members will be showing presentations and doing the panel discussions and different activations throughout the day from 1 to 6.
So we're pulling from within.
Yes.
And we are showing the world, the community, ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're showing the world and the community actual Emerge students that went through the entire program. We're not charging them to be in the show.
No.
We're not.
We paid them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
because they are Emerge participants, they actually received a stipend. They received a full kit.
Stipend.
Exactly.
And in the kit was even a new sewing machine for each one of them.
Wow.
So, like, yeah.
See, I didn't know. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Exactly. We're really giving them the tools that they need to succeed and to kind of show off their skills, as well as, okay, so what I want to know is, why is it only 1 day? I want it to be like 5 days. So.
So I can sort of answer that with remember what I said about where it is?
Yes. Yes. It's a big deal.
So Crystal Bridges it's a world-class institution,
Sure.
and they have a lot of their own programming going on. And so for us to be able to get it
1 day
for one big day,
you can't be greedy.
Yeah.
Sure.
We did a huge 3-day thing in the spring, and we're still sort of getting the cadence of like, there's a spring show and then there's a fall show and then we're going to do a summer show next year. So we'll see if we leave people wanting more or if we'll feel like that was enough. But I do think that, with the fashion exhibition open and with the Rally and Register event that we're having this weekend, and then the one really big day of shows, because we've never done daytime programming really during Fashion Week.
That's true.
So yeah, I think it'll be enough. I think it'll and then also it'll be so special because it's one night only.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm sorry,
are you gonna miss the one night of Fashion Week in Crystal Bridges ever? That seems like a no.
Exactly.
It seems like I put that one on your calendar. So, oh my God, I'm so excited though.
I am too, and I'm even more excited because I've actually seen the process and the execution of some of the designers' looks already, and just the level that they are bringing this season is, in my opinion, beyond anything.
They are bringing their A game.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Same. Yeah, yeah. Should we give them a little hint of the VIP experience?
Just a little teaser, not too
Just
much.
tell 'em just a touch.
All right.
A little.
Little sprinkle. Okay. It will be 2 hours before the show.
Okay.
In the Great Hall.
Ooh.
Yes.
Where we were for the dealio.
The director's
Dealio.
reception for Fashion in
That is
America.
literally what I said.
Which is absolutely beautiful. It's on that pond,
Yeah.
and it's nothing but glass.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it looks out on, like, you can see 11, which is where the runway show will be from there. Nighttime, lights, sunset, all the things.
This is so exciting.
Bruce Davis, who was
Yes.
INTERFORM's
22nd
first,
Element.
Yes, first Emerge designer in
Yes.
residence. He will be spotlighted within the VIP experience.
Wow.
And then there's going to be a gigantic announcement, but we're not going to say anything about that.
I'm not going to tell you about it.
Mum's the word.
Yeah.
Bruce he's making a 2-part collection.
Yes.
And so this is the first half of the biggest collection he's ever made. I'm so excited to see it. And then, the VIP experience will be limited to, I think, 100 or 150 people, something like that. And
So it's going to go quick.
And there will be, yes, we will announce a large thing for the future.
Okay.
And then the show itself will take place, like Zach said, you'll be able to go through Fashioning America and see the Emerge designers on the wall, which is a huge deal. And then we'll do a couple hours of hopefully mind-blowing runway shows. Yeah. We're still figuring out what exactly it's going to be, but I think we are going to make it unlike anything you've seen us do before. Because we've done a lot of like one kind of show, right? Like we've done a lot of like super big high production, like
bells
giant
and whistles.
Yeah, and I think this we may go in a couple directions. So we'll see. But it's no matter what. I mean, think about like
it's big by comparison no matter what. It's at Crystal Bridges.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But
you kind of want to take in the fact of the space that we're given, and especially like if you look at different fashion houses internationally, whenever they go into a specific space, the space itself lends so heavily to how beautiful the presentation is, and you don't really want to take away from that. So we're still figuring out how to like kind of lean into the architecture and the coloring and all of that
of the space as it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And really let it be like the Crystal Bridges show.
Yeah.
Right. And like I don't know
and not
if we'll
cover
ever.
it.
Yeah. I
Sure.
mean, we may never do another Crystal Bridges show. I don't know how. Frankly, the stars aligned to get us on this one. I mean, it was a year-long sort of negotiation, but like, it's been lovely to work with them. Obviously, they're such an important cultural institution, but it has been fluid.
Okay.
And so to finally sort of land on us having like basically a run of the space for a whole evening is like,
it's kind of a big deal.
Okay, yeah, it's a huge deal. Can you even imagine just like showing up at 7:00? You're in your outfit. You walk down. This is me walking in the Crystal Bridges
On her
hallways.
On her hands, because she doesn't use her feet. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so stoked about it. I'm so excited.
Talk about the preparation. A lot of people don't know what goes into producing a fashion show this huge. It's huge every year.
How many models is this going to be? Like 150?
100.
So we have allotted for about 170 at the max. Usually for a one-day event, it's around 140, 150. But each designer in residence has a 20-look show.
Ooh. Robust.
Yes. Which is
I just want to say that word.
Which is really great, though. In my opinion, I think that starts out at like a really solid collection where you can tell a very strong story. And then during the day, the presentations and activations that we'll have within the cohort, they will range from 3 to 5 models each. There may also be some mannequin set up around discussions and things like that. So it really just depends. But the max we're talking, it's probably 170. And because of the fact that it is one day, I'm probably not going to reuse any models throughout the day.
So everybody gets a chance.
Exactly.
Give somebody a
Each
chance.
look will have one designated model for it without any overlapping.
That's amazing.
And we're bringing Sona in for something, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the Symphony
Of Northwest Arkansas.
Yes.
is going to be with us during the day for sure.
Yes.
And then, so we've never done that before. So we're really excited about that collaboration.
That is so
I
exciting.
just like Crystal Bridges and
the symphony.
and models.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be so good.
Elegant.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that this is a fundraiser. I want people to know that people sometimes get a little confused about, the process or what it's for and things like that. So talk about what all this is for as far as it being a fundraiser. What does it go to? What do we use it for?
Well, so I do think it's worth saying that, like, we always give participants and their families either free or heavily discounted tickets. So,
Absolutely.
like, we're never going to put an event on where the people who are in the event can't have their families
attend.
That's just not what we're here to do. So then the remainder of it, and that's, and sometimes that's up to half the tickets. Like we really do lean in heavily on making sure that folks have their people there. And then the other tickets, you really have to think about the fact that this thing costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to put a fashion show on. Our spring show costs something like $120,000 to produce. And so when you look at how much money we make in ticket sales, it really is to pay to produce the event. So it's not, in the spring with that 3-day show, we really lean in. We say this is the biggest fundraiser of the year. This is where we get most, like a lot of our programmatic dollars come in. And it's true with Fashion Week as well. Like Fashion Week, when it happens, is really the only time of the year that we ticket anything.
Yeah,
exactly.
Otherwise, the remainder of the year, we pay you to be in programming oftentimes, or it's totally free. And so this really is an opportunity for us to sort of just recoup some of the costs of running an organization that does as much programming as we do.
Exactly.
So, and the tickets will be, we don't know yet. We'll know by the time this airs.
Absolutely. And it's important to realize we do it to this scale, because if we could do it at a hotel, right? But we don't. We choose to do it in these upscale places because we are elevating the people who participate in our programs because they deserve to be on a platform and to be highlighted in the best possible space.
Well, just think about like your trajectory as a creative. If you come through the INTERFORM sort of apparatus and you go through the learn and then you go through the make, which is like a merge, and you go and you make a collection. And then the end part of it is really the visibility.
Yes.
And being able to put in your portfolio of work images of your collection or your creative work in a world-class institution surrounded by other incredible artists. It just really elevates the practice to the next level.
Exactly.
And then you'll always have those photographs forever. They are, well, none of these are actually of that, but never mind.
But you'll have that experience, and you'll have that to put on your resume that you showed a collection at a world-class museum.
Well, and think about how many times you've seen an advertisement for Northwest Arkansas, or an article about how great Northwest Arkansas is, or like how diverse Northwest Arkansas is, and like one of the main pictures is a picture of our runway show. Like, our runway show is world-class. It really is. And so, just yesterday, Lisa Stewart, a model, and Rose from our spring shows walked in New York Fashion Week. And they launched from our runway to New York Fashion Week.
Love it.
They landed in Miami first and then headed up there. And that's huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from those amazing images that we make. And so, we put a lot of time and energy into it to make our work stand out as truly incredible.
Truly outrageous.
Jim and the holograms, y'all are way too young for that. So tell people, there are some people who may not have seen the exhibit yet. And some of the designers who are in the show are actually in the exhibit. Now, without giving the exhibit away, tell a little bit about what they can expect.
So
what's the exhibit about?
It's called Fashioning America, Grit to Glamour. And it spans over 200 years of fashion and apparel in the United States. And
curated by Emerge mentor Michelle Finnemore.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes. And there are pieces. It starts out with pieces from like the colonial times. There is a portrait of George Washington that was chosen because of the actual like clothing that he's wearing in the portrait. And it goes all the way to runways of today.
It takes a fantastic pit stop in like indigenous designers and a lot of denim.
Streetwear.
Lots of streetwear. Shoes.
The shoes.
Lingerie. Bathing
Swimwear,
suits. Wedding gowns. Like it does the damn thing.
Yeah. It touches on like every kind of fashion nerve you have.
Yeah. I mean, it's a survey of 200 years of fashion. And just the fact that INTERFORM has a nook in a 200-year survey of American fashion, and that designers from Northwest Arkansas in our programs are represented there with models from Northwest Arkansas, like on the wall. It's just, to me, coming from my background as a curator and just like knowing how these exhibitions get built, it's just like the biggest seal of approval you can possibly get.
Absolutely.
To be like, not only are we going to invite you to do this runway show in the museum, but like actually be on the wall.
That is a huge
It's a huge deal.
I think what I like the most about it is I was surprised at how much diversity there was in the fashion over the 200-year period. Most of the time when you go to different exhibits, you know what you're gonna see and what you're gonna expect. I did not expect to see Tommy Hilfiger. I did not expect to see any reference to Dapper Dan.
What was that?
It was
Aaliyah,
great.
The Tommy Hilfiger Aaliyah
Yes.
outfit. Yes.
It was amazing. I remember wanting that. My mom was like, "No, ma'am." Hide the stomach, and now I show it
But
off.
I think that
bandeau
was like
top with the
Aaliyah's
low-rising.
actual.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, Michelle curated it very intently to highlight the diversity within it. It's not just here's a bunch of beautiful clothings and collections that you can look at. It actually goes much deeper into like layers of like you said, indigenous and like Black designers, and
and it also there's a moment where it actually talks about labor practice and fashion.
It shows like the ugly truth,
right? And most fashion exhibitions aren't trying to talk about labor, and you know I like to talk about labor.
I know you do.
So there's an American flag dress because model citizen.
Name drop,
but
it's so good.
Our part in it is called Fashioning Northwest Arkansas, and I have to say I honestly, like, going in, feel like it connects seamlessly with the rest of the exhibit because of the diversity that we have in the designers and the models and the looks. Completely like goes just as well with the rest of what is happening.
And it goes beyond the mannequins. They're actually real people with faces in the exhibit.
It's like a tactile part of the exhibition, so you can touch the fabric. So the fabric that's on the wall in the outfit is represented with like a swatch that you can touch. And then also we have the remainder of the looks from Emerge on our windows in downtown Springdale, so you can actually experience this exhibit in kind of two places. You can see it in the museum, and then you can come down to Emma and see it again on the street. So we're just doing the
damn thing,
and all the places, tying it all together. And then I don't know. And then I just also love that like the Constitution happens to be at Crystal Bridges right now too, which I just feel like name a better campaign.
Go.
Put you on the
it can't be done.
Exactly.
We're like, oh, the Constitution, democracy, model citizen.
I will say too, our part in the exhibition, the labels for each look, it has the name of the look, it has the designer and where they're from and where they're currently residing, it has the model, it also gives credit to the photographer, the hair and makeup artist as well. So
that's a big deal.
It's checking all the boxes.
And there's a lot of work that went into just that part, and I mean that is something that needs to be recognized as well, and I'm really grateful that it is being showcased the way that it is.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap it up, let me ask, is there anything else that you want people to know about Model Citizen Fashion Week 2022 that you may not have touched on before we dip out?
The election is November 8th.
Please, y'all need to be registered yesterday.
If you don't have a plan to vote, you need to get online and check your registration and then make your voting plan. Find your polling place. Early voting starts October 24th. We need everybody who's listening to this to say, like, we got to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got to get engaged. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. So
it's so important. And I mean, there are a lot of people that don't think that it matters, but like,
it matters.
It does.
I did a podcast episode on that, but go ahead.
I know. Does voting matter?
Well, and
Yes.
like, you know, the progressive audience that INTERFORM has cultivated and the folks who understand like the why we are doing what we're doing in terms of, you know, representation and visibility is so incredibly important. Well, yeah, in beautiful pictures for sure, but representation and
those
visibility
pictures.
in democracy is
Yeah.
incredibly important. And like, we'll never get there if we aren't taking all of our human bodies to the polls and asking for better representation. So I'm just, November 8th, we'll have really good outcomes. We'll all be happy with what happens on November 8th. And then on November 12th, we'll go
And
be
party.
fabulous. That's the plan, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just really excited to have it all come together.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be huge. Big. Huge.
Big.
I mean,
Colossal.
it's quite likely going to be the most beautiful show we've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's saying a lot
It is.
because we've done some shows that are really good looking, but I think it'll also look very different. I don't think that the show that you have in your mind's eye of what Fashion Week looks like it's not that.
Yeah.
So,
Even more exciting.
but like, be dressed.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
the
do
nines?
not come.
Regular?
Right.
Yes.
It like in my thoughts right now, what it is coming together as is something that you would probably see like internationally.
Agree. Yeah, 100% agree.
Ooh, the elevation of
Yes.
this event.
This isn't like New York worthy. This is European.
Agreed.
Ooh, take all the pictures.
Like I'm
Take
thinking
all
more
the
Paris.
Paris.
See, or I mean we. Right.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, that is Interform Podcast. I'm Ro on the radio. You can follow me on Instagram. It's RO_ on the radio, all one word. Make sure you check out our website. It's interform.art. CEO Robin, please tell them where you can be reached.
No.
Maybe not you. You're not gonna get her directly.
My Instagram is at Robin Wallis.
Okay. And Zach said nah. I can be reached an email.
You can follow interform.art on Instagram. I do not have social media.
Absolutely.
I like to keep my peace of mind.
Boom. All right. That's the Interform Podcast. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are listening to Interform Podcast with Ro on the radio. You're going to want to hear this.